All right, welcome. This is Weight Loss Tips, Losing the COVID-19 or Quarantine 15, whatever you want to refer to it as. I am Stacy Halverson. I'm a certified health coach and medical exercise specialist at Westminster Medical Clinic. As a reminder, the session is being recorded, so please leave your microphone muted. Feel free to participate and unmute your microphone if you do have questions or comments. This session is interactive, so please grab a pen and paper and get ready to dive in. A couple more announcements we're going to go through. Our webinar schedule is posted on our website under the Health Education tab. Our next webinar that's coming up is Continuous Glucose Monitoring, featuring Dr. Cindy Dumont. She's our clinical pharmacist at Westminster Medical Clinic and is also a certified health coach. So she's going to answer all your questions about diabetes management and the options to do continuous glucose monitoring to help manage your diabetes. So we hope you're able to join. If you do have feedback on sessions you'd like to see, let us know and we'll put those on our schedule. We are doing 1 to 2 a month. If you would like to listen to this webinar again, you can access the recording on our website. Also, we have an archive of all of our previous webinars on that same health education page, so feel free to check it out if you missed something. I will be sending us a brief survey after this session, so if you have any feedback, I'm totally open to it and would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Couple clinic announcements. A reminder, our clinic is open. We take a lot of precautions to make sure you're safe at our clinic, and these are some of the things that we are doing at our clinic to make sure your exposure is limited. And we do pride ourselves on being safer than a grocery store, so come on by. We're filtering the air. We wear protective masks, requiring everyone else to wear masks as well, and we do our best to make sure you feel comfortable coming into the clinic to see our providers. For those of you who are tech savvy, we have you actually don't have to be tech savvy. Let me say that. We have our patient portal, and there's a lot of things you can do on our portal. You can download the app or go to the website and access it there. From our clinic's website, there's a link that takes you directly to the patient portal website, or you can download the Helo app. You can request or schedule appointments, message your provider, get prescription refills, access your labs or medical records. You can even track your blood pressure, activity level, and send those results to your provider there. There's a lot of options to further engage in your health through using our patient portal. So we encourage you to download it or go online and check it out. If you have a hard time and you don't know your password or anything, feel free to call us. We're happy to walk you through it and make sure you get connected. We really appreciate your business as patients of our clinic, and if you've had a great experience, we would love to get a review for our clinic on Facebook, Google, or Yelp. Please spread the word to keep our doors open so that we can continue to provide care in our community. If for some reason you are unhappy and your expectations weren't met, please let us know. Please ask for a manager and talk to us. We're happy to work with you and make things right, because we really do care about your business and you as patients. So please putting it out there, and please help us get some good reviews. So we will begin weight loss tips, losing the COVID-19. Let's dive in. I want to start off by saying, when you think of dieting or when you think of weight loss, you often think diet and exercise. That's very common. People go right to that, and that is a portion of this conversation about weight loss. There's a bigger picture. Support, mental, emotional health, and sleep are just as important as diet and exercise for losing weight. So as you set weight loss goals, don't undermine the value of setting a sleep goal to get to those weight loss goals, because that can be really helpful too. And there's a lot of research in each of these categories to support its component for what weight loss you can achieve through working in that area. Now, support is on there because that's what makes a lot of this sustainable. People can set a goal for 2 weeks or a month and do well with it, but how are you going to really change your lifestyle? And it is setting up a support system that can help you be able to adhere to these long-term goals and maintain this healthy lifestyle. So that's just as important, because that is that bigger picture of not just losing the 10 pounds, but it's keeping it off too. So this is the interactive part. I want you to write down what you know you need to do to lose weight. What has worked before that helped you lose weight. And I will specify what was healthy. Some people can lose weight in very unhealthy ways, but most likely you didn't maintain it if that was the case, or it might not have been great for other aspects of your health. So starting with what you know, take a moment and write down exactly what you know you need to do. And I encourage you to go beyond saying, I just want to, I know I need to eat healthy and exercise more. What specifically do you know though? What do you need to eat more of? What do you need to eat less of? What type of exercise do you need to do to lose weight that you know would be helpful to you? Is there something specific there? Is there a sleep aspect that could be improved? So go ahead and brainstorm a list as detailed as possible. What do you already know you need to do that would help you lose weight? And maybe it's something you haven't done before. Maybe it's something you're already doing, or maybe it is something that's worked before. So go ahead and take a couple minutes and write those things down. All right, so starting with that one that comes to mind, nutrition and diet. And this, there are some studies that show research and diet has a little bit more weight for weight loss than exercise, although both are important. You know, typically you think of calories in and out right away. You have to make sure you're using the calories that you're consuming. So whether it's through activity or exercise. And so that is one thing to start with is, are you overeating? So portion control as a strategy to help improve the diet. And there's a lot of different strategies out there for portion control, whether you're eating out or eating at home. My favorite portion control strategy is when you're cooking food, put it away after you serve everybody's plates. Put it in the freezer or fridge. It's an extra barrier to getting a second plate. So you can get a second plate if you really want to, but it requires another step and that forethought of, am I really hungry? Another one I often use when eating out is halfway through my plate, checking in, how hungry am I? And drinking water and taking 5 minutes just to sit there and be in tune with eating and the experience and how I'm feeling with the food. There's a lot of other portion control strategies out there. I'm sure the group has many here, but those are some of my personal favorite ones. But portion control is helpful. Some people log and track their food, and that can be another one that comes into play. When you're eating out, you can get a to-go box right away. If it's sitting in front of you, you're more likely to eat it. So close that box, ask for it right away, and put it aside. And if you're still hungry later, you can have that check-in. One that's been coming out in a lot more research is this idea of mindful eating, and that is engaging all of your senses in the eating experience. So it's actually enjoying food more, and by being really engaged with it, you're chewing every bite, thinking about it, checking in with how you feel, slowing down, almost like eating like a food critic, where you're eating it and enjoying it more. So for those who enjoy food, maybe the goal for portion control is enjoy it more. Slow down, take your time to really savor every bite, and that might help with the portion control. Activity level. So, you know, a lot of if you think about it, food, calories, is for energy, a lot of it. It does other things too, but a big part is for energy. So if you're not using that energy, those calories are just getting stored. And specifically with high sugar, high carb foods, if those are the ones that convert to energy, if you're not using it, it gets stored, and that's what can contribute to weight gain. So being active is very helpful, and making, you know, if you have young kids, you'll see that they don't always, I mean, this nowadays, kids are definitely overweight, but if they are active, they're less likely to be, and it's because they're using those calories that they're eating. Metabolism, everybody's different. So people often ask me, how many calories should I consume? And my answer is, I don't know. We would have to test you and find out. There's a lot of apps out there and algorithms that will tell you this is how many calories you need to get to your weight goal, but ultimately they don't know what's happening in your body, and everybody is different. So we have a metabolic test at the clinic called the MedGem, and it's an indirect calorimeter. So it's measuring your metabolism through your oxygen levels. It's a machine about this big, and there's a picture of it. You breathe into it for 10 minutes or so, and it will tell us your resting metabolic rate, which is how many calories you're using at rest for kind of basic functioning like breathing and things you're not even thinking about that might be using calories and energy. Then we put in what your sleep schedule is, your activity level, your age, all these things that affect metabolism, and it prints you a report of where your metabolism is on a scale and how many calories you need to lose weight by a certain goal date. So it makes it very individualized of what to expect. A lot of people like to blame their metabolism and say, I have a slow metabolism, that's why I can't lose weight. And they'll do the test and find out their metabolism's working okay. There's something else going on, maybe food choice. Or on the other side, it helps you be patient and recognize I'm only expected to lose a half a pound a week. So maybe that's an opportunity for me to not weigh myself and find other ways to measure success and progress, because weighing yourself, if you're only going to lose a half a pound a week, it might be really discouraging and demotivating. The other thing to think in mind when it comes to this idea of calories and when you're eating is this 12-hour fast. Your body needs a reset overnight to be able to reboot for that next day, almost cleanse your system in a sense. So if you eat at 7 o'clock, waiting till 7 a.m. If you eat at 6 o'clock, then at 6 a.m. A lot of people start to narrow that window and don't have 12 hours where they're giving their body that rest. And that can be very helpful for losing weight. In general, avoiding eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. It will improve your sleep, and it will also give you have a chance to use some of those calories before bed as well. So then it's not just about the numbers. It's not just about calories. It's food for fuel. So if you think of your body as a vehicle, you have one vehicle the rest of your life. How are you going to take care of that vehicle? Is it going to drive if it has no gas in it? Is it going to last a long time if you don't get your annual maintenance? What kind of gas do you want to put in this one vehicle you have the rest of your life? And that's where this comes into play for weight loss, is do you want the 85 or the 92? That 85 is more processed. Your car might not work as well or last as long. Although I am no mechanic, and I've used this analogy before, and people have called me out that I might not understand all the different gas types. But if we're just going to loosely take this analogy, you want to put good gas in your gas tank, and you need gas in your gas tank for your body and your metabolism to function. So when you go to an extreme caloric deficit, your body's not able to work properly. So you might lose weight, but you might not be able to sustain it, or other things might happen that are not going to be healthy for you. I have a colleague who's a health coach and was a bodybuilder, and he went on 800 calorie diets as a larger guy, and he would do it right before competition. And he would say the next day after competition, when he went to eat normal and not 800 calories, he would gain an excessive amount of weight because his metabolism was really thrown off. So if you keep lowering that ceiling, all of a sudden, when you do want to eat a little bit more, your body really struggles to figure out how to process those calories. So food is fuel. You need fuel. You need good carbs. You need good protein. You need good fat. There's a lot of diets out there that say just eat protein or just eat fat. There's no diets now that say just eat carbs. But there was one, and it was the low-fat diet, where in the 90s, all this marketing came out, which was sponsored by carbohydrate cereal companies. And the research was done poorly and probably taken out of context. But all of these low-fat, fat-free foods came out. And at that time, what we saw is people started eating more carbohydrates. So they were fat-free chips, fat-free cookies, and everyone thought, oh, this is healthy. But carbs and sugar, they were starting to eat more of, and that's what's contributing to weight gain. So diabetes and obesity got worse in this country when fat became a marketing tactic to say no fat or non-fat. So you really do have to be careful and recognize that each of these types of macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat, have a different purpose for your body. They are fuel for your body. They help you function, and you do need a good amount of each of these. And finding that balance in your diet will help you lose weight. Now, some people do better with higher fat than carbs, and some people may do better with a little bit more protein. Everybody is different. It's not a one size fits all. but recognizing that that there's good fat, there's good carbs, and there's good protein. So with that same conversation, it's about eating real foods, avoiding processed foods. So that's the cheap gas in the gas tank that doesn't have nutrition. So if something says 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 protein, what is it? Is it water or is it a chemical? And a lot of these, if food is nutrition and helps your gas, is the gas for your gas tank, you need it. So why would you always want 0? So if something is 10 grams of fat versus 5, and the 5 is unhealthy fat and the 10 is good, I would choose the 10 grams of good fat versus the 5 grams of unhealthy fat. Now, if it's 10 grams of bad fat versus 10 grams of good fat, 10 grams of bad fat versus 5 grams of bad fat, yes, maybe you want the 5 because you don't want the bad fat. But it is really important to look at the ingredients. So processed foods are things that come in package with lots of labels. We have a lot in our diet, and certainly when you eat out, you're probably getting some processed foods. But at home, if you look in your cupboard, is your cupboard full or is your fridge full? And that's a good way to check in on how much processed foods you're eating. Sugar and carbs, I know it says avoid sugar and carbs. It's not necessarily about avoid, I should change that word there, but it's limiting it and making sure you're getting the good carbs. So by avoiding carbs, I meant avoiding the processed high sugar carbs. Vegetables and fruits are carbs. Please eat those. Sugary drinks, I've had patients lose weight just by cutting out soda. It's amazing. It's a lot of sugar, and that can really pile on weight. It's a strange concept that liquid could cause weight gain, but it's the sugar content in it. And you'll be surprised. I mean, there's foods that have just as much sugar as a soda too. So a can of soda, let's say, is 32 grams of sugar. There's yogurts out there that are 28 grams of sugar. So you really do have to be careful looking at those labels. And then if it says, oh, sugar-free, you have to look at the ingredients to say, well, it's still sweet. So what are they putting in it to make it sweet? And if it's artificial sweeteners, those aren't going to help you towards your health goals either. That's a processed food, chemical, and you need to eat real food. So diet foods, anything on the label, they have Atkins protein bars and Weight Watchers this, and a lot of it's really processed. So at the end of the day, when you look at something, can you tell what's in it by looking at it? So if you have a granola bar, let's say, not all granola bars are too processed, but in general, can you tell the ingredients by looking at it? No. But if you have an apple, what is it? The ingredient is an apple. So that's the check-in there of, is this a processed food or not? Can you tell what's in it? Maybe you can't tell the seasonings on broccoli, but you get the idea. Eat real foods. Activity and exercise. A lot of people will say, hey, I'm exercising 5 days a week. How come I'm not losing weight? And it's maybe because their body and their muscles have become accustomed to the types of exercise they're doing. And so it is important to switch up your routine every few weeks. So if you're doing a certain type of weightlifting, let's say you're doing, lat pulls or something like that, lat pull would be here, your body's going to adjust to that. So either change the weight, change the reps, how often you're doing it, or change up the routine every 3 weeks. And that will help keep your muscles engaged and growing and learning new strengthening in different parts of your body. It's important to have a variety of exercise though. So going beyond just cardio, you'll hear with weight loss, cardio, let's get on the treadmill, elliptical, running. These other aspects of exercise and activity are important too. Strength training has a lot of research to support it, helps with weight loss. Stretching and yoga and core work is very important. Balance will help be a foundation for you to successfully do activity and exercise. And then, walking. Daily activity. We have such a sedentary society that really is a big part of our weight problems in this country, is that we're sitting all the time. So being active is very important too. So that's for cardiovascular health, that does wonders, so exercise is good, but also having that daily activity. And they've had studies that show, is walking daily better or is exercising 2 days a week better? And they kind of go both ways, but activity really is very important. So to not underplay the value of doing something every day and then still having that intentional exercise as well. Sleep. Getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Everyone has a different sleep cycle. So some people might thrive on 7, people might need 9, but on average, that's the amount of sleep. But it's also going beyond that to work on sleep quality. And practicing sleep hygiene is an important piece of this puzzle. Most people have pretty bad sleep hygiene, unfortunately, and it's because there's a lot of distractions and things that keep us busy. But it's important, one of those things to maybe put down before bed is electronics. 2 hours before bed would be ideal. And that includes phones, computers, TV screens. The blue light that they emit actually can affect your sleep cycle and the quality of sleep you're getting. There are filters you can put on your screen. I know my phone has a blue light filter that will block that out. That helps. I'm not sure if it totally addresses the issue, but it does help. And they do have glasses that have filters that will block out the blue light. So all those things are helpful. But ultimately, when you're looking at electronics, there's the blue light, but there's also the stimulation that you're having in your brain. So putting electronics down, reading a book, having a different kind of wind down routine that doesn't involve that overstimulation would be helpful. Caffeine, a lot of people need to cut that off at 2 p.m. Maybe not something right before bed, but being aware of your caffeine intake. Make your sleep space dark and quiet. That's important. Bed is for sleep and sex only. So doing activities like on your computer, watching TV in bed trains your brain that you're allowed to do other things when you're in bed. So it makes it harder to sometimes fall asleep when you really do want to be sleeping. Or it does impact that quality as well. So really keeping the tasks for what you do in your bed at those two things will help set your body up to be accustomed and ready for those things. Avoiding exercise before bed. Some people really do get more energy from exercise, and so keeping that in mind that when you exercise might be a problem for your sleep. As part of all of this, it's developing a healthy bedtime routine. What does that last hour before bed look like? And how do you set yourself up for the next day? How do you wind down for the evening? What's a ritual you can have that will help ease you into sleep? As part of that, you might want to incorporate stress management techniques. If you're someone whose mind races before bed, write things down, get it out of your head. You'll be able to see it the next day. You won't forget it. So journaling or writing can be writing your to-do list, get it on paper. That can help as a big stress management if a lot's happening in your head. There's meditation, breathing exercises, all sorts of other things you can also do to help relieve that stress and help you get better sleep. So that also leads mental, emotional health as a whole for weight loss. There is a connection between your mind and your heart and your whole body and how that all works. And so stress management is really important. So having daily practices of meditation, exercise can help with stress management, therapy. If you need resources and tools on this, we have 2 behavioral health providers at our clinic, and I as well can help support stress management as part of your weight loss goals. That last piece of that puzzle is support. Friends and family, maybe it's going to counseling and having a therapist, health coaching, personal training, group classes. And then what do you need to really set yourself up to be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle? Who do you need to ask support from? And what does that support look like? In my health coaching sessions, I often say, who in your life supports you or doesn't support you? And what kind of support do you feel like you need to be successful? And that is a really important question. And then how are you going to ask for that support if you're not getting it? And what does that conversation look like? A really simple exercise is if someone asked you for support, how would you feel? Would it bother you? And most people say no. So turn the table a little bit if you need to, if it's hard for you to ask for help, and ask yourself, if someone asked you for help, how would you feel? And if the answer is, I would be happy to, then most likely that person will feel that way too, if you have a good relationship. So that's that last piece of that puzzle that is just as important in this story of weight loss. So if you need further support beyond this webinar, these were brief tips of just the different aspects to touch on when you're thinking about your weight loss goals and how to work towards them. We do have health coaching at the clinic. I have a health coaching program, which is 3 months or 6 months or as long as you need. And it includes that metabolic test we talked about, the MedGem, weekly body composition, weigh-ins at the clinic, weekly check-ins with me. It's a pretty comprehensive for those who want ongoing accountability and support. You're hiring me to be your personal health coach is basically what that is. That's for a monthly fee of either $140 or $165, depending on if you do the 3 or 6 month program. If you just want to do a couple single sessions, Dr. Dumont at our clinic would be happy to see you, and she bills insurance for those visits. So it would be comparable to what your copay would be for any doctor's visit at our clinic. You know, I mentioned the MedGem test. You could just do the MedGem. We bill insurance for that, or if insurance doesn't cover it, or if you have a high deductible, it's $85. HeartMath is a biofeedback tool we have for stress management, and we have single sessions to learn the program and the techniques to manage stress and actually change the patterns between your heartbeats. So you're learning how to almost self-manage and regulate how you experience or don't experience stress. So lots of options if you need further support with weight loss. I appreciate everyone's participation and diving into this topic. There's a lot of research and information, and things are always changing. So if you need further support, don't hesitate to reach out. Good luck with your weight loss goals, and I'm here for you if you need it. Thank you all. Have a good evening.